Every once in a while we want to get out of our comfort zone, and we figure why not do something where we buy a car that is really just all pieced together, because that's the fun of it. You get to enjoy a car that just has a little bit of character, a little bit of personality. Cars like this, like a Nissan 240SX, where the bumpers can just come out of a box and just need to be unfolded and heated up. I mean, that's completely normal. I don't see anything wrong with this. And you've got manual flippy up headlights because that's what TikTok likes. This is Gels' 1991 Nissan 240SX. In today's episode of Behind the Wheel, we're gonna be taking a look on if it's actually worth buying one of these things. If not a drift car, just a car to actually get in and drive safely, securely, and without worrying that I don't understand this at all. We're gonna be taking a look on if it's actually worth it. So let's get the obvious out of the way. A 240SX has been a solid platform for pretty much anybody that's wanted to start drifting. Now, Gels picked up his 240SX for about $8,500. So when you think about that, probably not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, you don't know when you tap on something on this car, if it's Bondo, metal, a 240SX piece, a 180SX piece, or just a piece that was found on Andy's Auto Parts. Because the point of this car isn't necessarily to be one piece, one color, or one coherent car. It's meant to be a beginner's drift car, and the weight distribution of the 240SX is a solid platform for it. The wheelbase for these cars is a solid platform for drifting, and of course, this is a huge community behind this car, which means it's very, very easy to modify. The most important thing, though, is you want to make sure that at least you look like you know what you're doing, which if you can snag a picture and put it on Instagram, then you too can say that you are now a drifter, just like Mike Power, which is like the coolest thing to do in 2022. Now, the real question is would you spend $8,500 on a 240SX, or how much money would you actually spend on a 240SX that looks like Gels? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. But I am petrified to actually drive this because this reminds me a little bit of my Datsun, except I built my Datsun, so at least I knew what was wrong with it. Gels bought this from somebody, and I'm not sure who, what, when, where, or why things were built the way that they are. This is where I would slap the dash, but the dash is cracked, and I feel like I'll tear it in half like a 3rd gen Ram. So we're just gonna get in the car and start driving. Now, before we even get into the actual driving experience, a few parts to note about this particular 240SX. Now, it is Gels', so I'm gonna try and be nice, but it does have Megan Racing coilovers, Godspeed tension arms, cut and welded knuckles, and a DC Sport header. It's got an Origin stylish body kit, what's left of it. If you guys can count how many zip ties are holding the body kit together, I will send you a sweatshirt and a decal pack. A KBD bumper, that's the bumper that came in a box that you just have to heat up, and then you can assemble it like that. It's got a full cage, 2 different sets of wheels, which is really exciting. Origin front wheels, which are 18x9 plus 15s, and then a Novia Kano rears, 18x9.5 plus 22. Those wheels aren't even released yet. The car's got like 14 horsepower, but it's got a roll bar and the harnesses to be a 400 horsepower car. So there is that. Anytime that there's an excuse for something bad that happens with this car, it's just important to remember, if you just tell them it's a drift car, nobody can talk shit. I'm flooring it. This is flooring it. I'm not flooring it anymore because I'm scared. Exhaust sounds mint. Maybe if I just turn off the car. What I was trying to say is that I was trying to rip it around the turn, and it didn't work because there's not enough power out of the KA, so you pretty much have to clutch kick everywhere you go if you want there to be any sort of power. The real question is it worth buying something like this? And for 8,500 bucks? In today's day and age, drift cars are going for a lot of money. For no other reason than because they're drift cars. You can have a hacked together 240 that's 17 different colors and say it's got a SR swap in it, and people will buy that car for 15 grand. Nope. Here's probably one of the best things about picking up a 240 like this. At 8,500 bucks, I would say it's okay for the price, but one of the best things that you're gonna have is that if you actually buy a 240 to learn how to drift, you probably couldn't have picked a better car. Gels went to the track just this last weekend. He had his first drift day ever with this car, and he spent a lot of time practicing. He spent a lot of time trying to figure out how it worked. But almost immediately into testing him before he could go out onto the track, one of his control arms actually broke, like the second time he drove the car. And he was pretty broken up about it because, I mean, it's a brand new car. Sure, it's held together by zip ties and hopes and dreams, but you would have expected it to last a little bit longer. Well, Sam Lowe, who also works with us, ended up actually giving him a box of just random parts for his 240SX because everybody's got a million boxes of 240SX parts. And he was able to limp the car back to his like bay, if you want to call it that, or his area, literally lift it up, throw a new one on, and in 10 minutes he was right back on the track. So drifting is known for breaking a ton of shit almost all the time. And when you have a car where you can just replace the stuff just as fast as it breaks, you're pretty much doing a lot better than 95% of everyone else out there. Because the moment you start getting funky with what you're modifying to drift out there, the harder it is for you to fix stuff on the fly. There's a lot of stuff that breaks on these cars. The great news is you're held in by the great Alexander's torture device from the basement of their English mansion in there, Steve. You'll be fine.
He puts the lotion on his skin.
Now, Gels says one of the three things he loves about this car is that it's a turnkey drift car, which is cool. Another thing that he really likes about it is the fact that it does have the pop up and down headlights. Also cool. A couple clout points for the TikTok on that. He does get a point removed because the flip-up headlights have to be manually lifted up or down because they don't work anymore. And it's a great learning vehicle, he said. We're not gonna crash, we're not gonna crash, we're not gonna crash, okay? Okay. And if we do, we'll just get another bumper that can unmold itself. The KA does not get enough love in the platform. A lot of people are always immediately wanting an SR swapped 240 if they go to drift, like a SR20 DET, right? Which is nothing more than a turbo. But I think it's important to note that if you are looking to pick up a 240 and you are looking to get into drifting, getting a KA is actually really good. Getting a car like this is actually almost perfect because you're not hiding behind high horsepower or a highly built car to drift. A lot of times you're using a lot more mechanical, a lot more driver input to make the car slide, which is actually really good. You're better off starting with a low horsepower car to really understand how to control a drift, how to enter and exit a drift, rather than just getting something that's got 500-600 horsepower, something that's already built for like $30,000, and then hiding a lot of your mistakes behind the fact that you can roast the tires, because there is an art to drifting, and there's a lot of people at drift days, there's a lot of people in the drift community that are really good at drifting, and they'll catch if you're using power to hide a lot of times your driving mistakes. And there are a lot of people that do hide behind high horsepower to hide a lot of drifting mistakes. So when you do jump into the drift community, almost everyone will tell you, start off with something that actually is a little bit more like this, lower horsepower, a little bit easier to bang up, because you are gonna go into a ditch, you are gonna go into a wall, you are gonna go and make some mistakes with your car, and it's best to learn on a car that doesn't have a lot of horsepower. Now here's the thing with these cars, which by the way, if this car was a movie, it would most definitely have to be Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift with the Wish App Edition. If the car was a one-liner, it'd be like, I don't care if you're in bed with a dog or sleeping with Beyonce, when I call you pick up. There's a line somewhere in that movie that's like this. Here's the thing with these cars, all right? They're fun, great, usable, functional tools that will get you to enjoy a motorsport activity that is unlike anything else. So take that with a grain of salt, and the fact that Gels is doing that makes me absolutely love this car. Unfortunately, the rating scale doesn't give a shit about you doing that. It cares about the interior, exterior modifications and performance, in which case this car does, interior is a 3, exterior is a 3, performance is a 4, modifications is a 5, and if I could give this a bump for just being such a good sport, I'd give it a good 8 for character, but there's not a category for character, so it gets a 15 out of 40. Now, don't be mad because the 240SX is still an awesome car. Still a great car, okay? It's still good. You just need to make sure that you're buying it for the right purpose, because if you're buying a car like this for nothing more than look like you drift, like if you're just buying this to look like you drift, this is not the car for you. And cars like this that are out there in the market are not for you. But if you're buying this car to actually go out and do those things, to actually go out and use and abuse and learn your car, the 240SX still is probably one of the best platforms to learn on, has one of the best communities to be a part of, and is also one of the best motorsport activities that you can do right now. But let us know what your thoughts are on the car and what you would rate it. And of course, if you're looking for wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to check us out over at fitmentindustries.com. I'm Alex, and we will see you later. Peace.